Ok, ya podemos empezar. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready. All
Hey,
right. Hello, Edwin. Welcome.
hey,
Welcome. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. Nice,
Awesome,
nice to
man.
see you.
Yeah. Pleasure to be here today. So why don't we get started? So we
Let's do it.
have pretty much, hopefully we can get this or knock this out in the next 30 minutes to 45 minutes. So let's make this um, the best the best experience possible. All right,
Let me
cool.
mute my phone, man.
Awesome, man. Well, welcome to everybody in this webinar. So, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. So, today I'm here. My name is Jader, and I'm here with Evan, of course. Um, we have, of course, in this exciting experience we're going to have today, we're going to talk about how to migrate from WordPress to Webflow. Um, we want to show you, of course, the step-by-step actions and give you as well a checklist to migrate and so on, right? So why don't we get started? So my name is Jader and I'm here with Edwin. So a little bit of about me. Or I think before this we're going to talk about common mistakes when it comes to migrating from WordPress to Webflow, how to avoid these issues, any problems and solutions, steps that you can take when it comes to a step-by-step checklist that we have, a real case study, and of course, next step when it comes to your business from point A to point B. Um, so why don't you introduce yourself, Edwin?
Yeah, my name is Edwin, and I'm also working with a migration team as well. And we're going to show you a little bit of what we do to the context of this webinar. Um, let's go to the portfolio. Can you see that?
Oh,
Um,
my portfolio.
yeah,
You're talking
let's
about
show
this
the
one.
portfolio
Yeah.
very quickly. Here are some of the projects that we have done recently. Some of the companies we've been working with, we have been working with web design, graphic design, copywriting, marketing, digital
Hmm.
marketing, and after a couple of hundred customers, you start getting an understanding very deep of what the real issues are, right? And that's the main
Hmm.
reason want to put together this webinar. We wanted to help you understand not only at the surface level what the problem is, but actually the psychology behind why, what does it take to make a successful migration from WordPress to Webflow. And if you can want to scroll down a little bit on the projects, they can
Hmm.
see, you know, um,
Yeah. And over here, we're only showing, I would say, maybe 40,
uh,
maybe 30 projects, but we have done
I
more
wish,
than 400 projects, of course,
yeah, I wish we have the time to prepare case studies for everyone for each project, but
Hmm.
actually,
Hmm.
it takes a lot of work. We only prepared of the most relevant ones. But
Hmm.
anyways, today we want to show you, how we pretty much have done a successful migration. Pretty much, we have a process, and even we create a checklist for you guys, so you can go step by step. We're gonna hold you by the hand and show you exactly what to
Hmm.
do to avoid the common mistakes, and also to actually save your traffic, migrate your Google organic traffic to the new Webflow website, and also a case study with all the details. It's going to be very brief. It has a lot of information, but we're going to show you a website, a real migration website with all the content live, the ranking in Google, and real SEO data
Hmm.
after how long? For about a year and a half of
Yeah.
a successful migration. So it's going to be packed of very valuable information for you guys to know what is the real issue when you move from web WordPress to Webflow. The W is kind of difficult for me to
Totally.
pronounce.
Totally.
Anyway. All right, let's start with so you can have an idea a little bit about what
Cool.
we do. Like, we work together very well because I think we have a kind of complementary skills, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a background in corporate. Well, we both have background in the corporate world. I have a little bit more on my on the industry side,
Mm-hmm.
oil and gas, construction, a lot of technology, and I go deep into processes,
Mm-hmm.
systems, copywriting, strategy. That's my gift. Jada is a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more. Well, I think we work both creative, but you have more. Let's say an eye for the design and the branding and all the feeling. I
Mm-hmm.
really like that about your skills, and
Totally.
and you went deep into that Webflow rabbit hole, right? Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So I started, of course, learning about Webflows when actually they came out in 2013. So in 2013, I was building, of course, websites with WordPress, which a lot of, it's one of the oldest platforms that people use. And then I use, of course, clients come, I use Wix, WordPress, Squarespace. But and then around those times I was struggling with because coding is one thing, designing is another. I more like in the design aspect than the coding. So I say, hey, I just need to and figure it out something new. And then somebody in one of those chat is like, have you heard about Webflow? I'm like, Webflow, try it out. And that's when then of course I've been then using Webflow
and
since
that
then.
and that was exactly how we met. I have a WordPress website, and I was struggling to try to keep it up and all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
plugins and all the stuff. And then I started looking into the Webflow. I didn't have the time to run my business and do learn Webflow, so I ended up reaching to Jada, and we became very good friends. To the point that now we do website for other companies and
Yeah, yeah.
all the marketing stuff. Um, Now let's go straight to the painful part. Why is that huge need of people moving to WordPress from WordPress to Webflow?
Yeah, yeah. So and I think this is more from my own experience, right? Because a lot of the times people, everybody has different experience. And one thing about WordPress that we want to be clear, we're not against WordPress, right? I think WordPress is a great tool, right? It's one of the oldest tools that a lot of people using. So it's, so we're not against WordPress at all. The only thing when we talking over here is people, they have some type of struggles and things. Like many business start with a WordPress because it's very popular, it's easy to use, of course, but when it comes to the issue, I would say, or when it comes to the point that you want to grow your business, you want to have control of your design or your content, of your marketing and things like that, it can become sometimes a headache, right? And we put over here some of the challenges people have: slow time, security. It's of course a lot of hackers and designers and developers. They know about this, how to access to the backends of WordPress, and people figure it out a way. So obviously, so it's very vulnerable when it comes to the security. When it comes to we're talking about the design issues. If you're not coder, it's drop and drop. Maybe we'll make it with a good theme and using plugins and things like that, but and then it can become very complex when you want to do a little more complex design. Of course,
For me, was
WordPress too.
all
Go
the
ahead.
conflicts between the teams and the plugins. When I installed a new plugin or updated something,
Mm,
broke the other part. I mean, it was painful.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
then I learned about the fragmentation and the different versions and all that.
Mm,
But
yeah, yeah, totally.
it was the main reason I wanted to migrate. Um, yeah, and a little bit of a history about how WordPress and Webflow being developed. Um, WordPress started in 2003. In technology, they say that 1 year is about one lifetime. So between the launch of WordPress and the launch of
It's a
Webflow,
long time.
uh, it seems only like 7 years, but actually it's really really long time.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the idea when they launched Webflow, it was specifically to solve a lot of the issues that WordPress was not prepared to solve. We want to
Hmm.
touch a little bit on few of them, so we have an idea of a context of what is that so important, or why did we prefer to go to WordPress.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And another thing too, when it comes to WordPress and Webflow too, right? Because we're comparing these two different platforms. In some cases, we know that WordPress is going to be better for some people, for some businesses, and Webflow it's going to be for others, right? And so the idea here is how can you narrow it down to is it going to be the right fit for you? So, and that's what we're going to talk about, of course, as well, if it's the right fit for your business.
Yeah. Um, I think this is part of the issue that as we start getting deep into the understanding how it works. WordPress is very good engine. Like programmatically is a very good design to handle a lot of content. It was made mostly for blog posts to make it was a
Mm-hmm.
blog. The solution that the problem they wanted to solve was making a content delivery system, a customer management system. But the issue comes when they let the community start doing the plugins and the themes, and then you start getting people all over the world designing plugins, and none of them are really coordinated with each other. It's like somebody make a plugin and break something that a theme or another plugin that's already installed is already there, and it start getting conflicts. And if
Mm-hmm.
some developers don't update, they find security issues and they don't upgrade their implementation, and you being using one of these plugins or these themes, now you start getting into security issues. So it's more about the way that they implemented all the development in the community. That's the main issue. If you understand this, probably you will see the importance and the difference of why do you have to move to Webflow or another solution that is let's say tailored to your needs. And in our case, we find that Webflow is the best for what we do. It's pretty much having businesses having a high level of customization and design,
Mm-hmm.
easiness for the team to use, and at the same time, scale. Scale is
Exactly.
probably the main features that we look for.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Uh,
So here, one of the things we always, in our case, we focus quite a lot is when it comes to your website, right? It's an asset, and so and most, even though we know it's important, your website is important. One thing we recognize websites sometimes either don't have, I would say, priority or importance or things like that. So people don't use it as such, right? So your website, in our case, we believe is should be the ultimate hub, right, for your business. In this case, when it comes from branding, from sales, from products, from social media, from leads, acquisitions, building funnels, whatever needs to happen. Of course, when it comes to hiring employees, getting uh, any type of appointments, any type of stuff, obviously your website can be used for. And so the idea of your website, right? So we always, in our case, we talk about your website can be more than just a brochure, but it can be a machine, right? To help your business to propel. It can help your business to increase in revenue. It can help your business to grow much faster as well if you put the right elements and the right, effort and things that you need in the website in order for it to become, the ultimate hub.
Yeah, and I feel that the website is also so important when you see it as, let's say, as a sales rep, a digital sales rep, somebody who is
Mhm.
going to show your message to your customers or prospective customers, is going to capture information, is going to show your portfolio, is going to schedule with a calendar online. It can recruit people, like it can show your branding to your prospective employees, partners, investors. It's actually an asset, a branding asset that
Mhm.
can
Mhm.
help, bring a lot of value to your business, a lot of value to your customers, and a different experience. And in a world that is super full of, distraction, your website should be able to capture your attention of your customers and position yourself as the leader in your market, and
Right.
it's really, really something that we have to put a lot of attention on. Um, let's go to the next. This is pretty much I think it's a visual of what is going on in the markets.
Yeah.
Many companies, in large companies, are using Webflow. From New York Times, Discord, Monday. These huge companies that they have all the money in the world to have developers, and they are moving to Webflow. It's because they see the potential, the easiness of designing something beautiful quickly, and also among different team members, and the collaboration is also
Team
a nice.
members and departments, right? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So in our case, of course, we've experienced some of these companies we work with, and like you said, it's just a game changer for some of them. Like the things that they can do is so much faster when it comes to all the things that Webflow can offer. Now, when it comes to we have over here a question, right? Is a Webflow migrating to Webflow? Is it a good idea? Is it the right tool to migrate? Is it right fit for your business, right? So when you see it from the business perspective, so we of course in this webinar we want to answer that question as well. So let's go to next.
Yeah, and here are some of the features that we really, really like, and the technical level. We are not going to talk about all the, geeky stuff behind WordPress, Webflow, but they do actually have a very, very powerful technical stack with all the things that you need in regards to server speed and content management and the security, and all of that is already taken care of. And I think this is something that really, really impacted me, because I remember that I did, when you use WordPress, you have to actually have the server who is hosting your installation, right? Your
Mm-hmm.
WordPro implementation, uh, your WordPress implementation. And WordPress and Webflow, you don't have to worry about any of that. They
Yeah,
already
yeah.
have it for you. You just click a button, and the website is live on the Amazon servers all over the world with all the content network that they have. So this one
Mm-hmm.
is one of, I think, one of the main features in regard to
Mm-hmm.
the technical aspects, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Now, when it comes to features, this is probably the eye candy, or the things that we see on the front end. um, I really have two or three of the features that I know is not something that you can find anywhere else. I select a couple of them, and we want to show you. We're not going to go over all the features of Webflow, but we're going to show you the few of them, so you have an idea. If you haven't used the platform, in the next 2-3 minutes, you want to see some very cool stuff.
I think
Um,
another thing to keep in mind is like Webflow, it's working really hard, of course, and a little more background too that Webflow, they're investing quite a lot in when it comes to like the tools. And actually, yesterday I was in another call, in webinar. They're also implementing even more things like that we don't even mention here. We're not going to go into it, but also, which is very common for companies or enterprise companies or even small companies as well, language. So that's another thing
yeah,
too that we don't even have in these stacks. And of course, like I said, like Edwin said, right? So there have so many features that definitely people can benefit from it. But this is so Webflow, of course, it has a lot of good things that it can provide, when
yeah.
it comes to your business.
Let's just start with this first one, right?
Hmm.
Um, I think this is one of my favorite. That is the all the design capabilities that you have. The It's difficult to use something if you don't know how it works. You know what it is. You know how have examples, and to have the time to learn this, it takes a lot of research. I remember when I used WordPress, I have to watch a lot of videos on YouTube, and going to forums, and actually became a detective to learn some of the features.
Hmm.
Um, on Webflow, they have a very strong library. I think this is super awesome, that you can see all the features, um, all the examples, videos, high-end produced videos with examples, checklists, um,
Process.
yeah, everything is very, very, very well explained.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And I think as well, like most people, they're, I would say
Yeah,
beginners, intermediate, and an advanced can benefit from these tools, right? Because definitely you can use it more than just, and the best thing about it too, it shows you the entire process when it comes from beginning to end. And that's one thing when it comes to like when you're learning with YouTube and things like that. So definitely university library for Webflow, I think it's really, really cool.
yeah. All right, let's go to the next. Um, this is probably your favorite. You live in here, I gather.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is the designer, right? So the Webflow has, of course, designer and also has the editor and the designer. Of course, this is where, like you said, use creativity and you can use design, implement. Of course, you manage files, elements, create styles, optimize for mobile. Everything you will have it in one place, of course.
You know,
So.
the first time
Mhm.
that I saw the designer, in my mind, it was like watching or looking at uh, Photoshop on the web.
Mm, I agree.
Is
Yeah, yeah,
one
yeah.
place you design everything. You use one screen to do everything.
I
Uh,
agree.
and it becomes to the point that once you get familiar to the designer and what everything is, they keep adding features and you're already familiar with the interface. So
Hmm.
it's not like changing different screen. No, everything is in one place. It's super convenient.
Yeah, yeah. And not only convenience too, it's the power that it has, man. It's insane.
Yeah, it's really, really powerful. Yeah,
So this, what is this? This is the
yeah,
development
the you know the features that they have, that the screen can be adaptive to different sizes of screen. And
the
mobile
viewport.
is very huge right now. Like they say, over 60% of the traffic of the internet is in mobile devices, and it's very difficult to optimize a website to look good on all the screens, right? And they have features. I mean, they have a lot of features that we are not going to show today, but they have these features that really, really like that the screen is really adapting on size depending on the device, and you don't have to actually do anything. It does it by itself as soon as you use that feature, right?
Mm-hmm. Hey, yeah, yeah.
The
All right.
fonts too. When it comes to the fonts, you can upload any font you want, right? But they also have the features to upload only one font that is dynamic. You can select your font and make it dynamic, so you can dynamically, let's say, how do you say that? Move or modify the font.
Modify the
Yeah,
design,
in
the
a way.
stroke, the weight. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
instead of uploading all the small little say styles of the font, like bold, italic, light, you just upload one, and then you dynamically can adjust it, right? It
Mm-hmm.
seems magical, and at the same time you can add interaction. So when people scroll, then the font moves. So it gives you a lot of interactions. It's super easy to configure, and at the same time very powerful and engaging.
Yeah, 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 exactly.
This is another one that I really, really like, are the interactions. We were just talking about them.
I think this is the favorite for all of them, and I think this is what is known Webflow the most because when it comes to other tools, including of course in this case a specific WordPress. WordPress, really most of the website you see, probably 90% of the website, they 100% is static. Like you see a
Yeah.
picture, it doesn't move, none, right? And just text. And the one thing about Webflow, and that's which a lot of people love, the micro interactions as well the advanced interaction, right? And of course in their case they divided in different different type of interaction: click interaction, scroll interaction, hover interaction, the mouse movement, page load, and all those things. And it's incredible all the things you can do. So more engaging, more interactive, more life, right? And it makes your, of course, your business, your website a lot more unique as well.
And I like that the fact that is easy to use. I mean, this is something very advanced that if you don't have, I mean, without Webflow, you actually have to have,
Code.
like
Gotta learn code and
colors and
JavaScript and
learn CCS and do all that crazy technical stuff. And here is super way easier. It's not that like it's not that it's super simple, but it's way simpler than doing it in code.
yeah. Well, Webflow has, and of course, I think Webflow has been known for that. That it has their learning curve. But if you want to get something get done, of course, there's many, like you said, video tutorials and things like that people teach that you can follow step by step to get
Yeah.
something done. But if you want to get something new, like you said, it's a lot much easier than learning code.
Yeah, and the next feature is the collaboration tools. I mean, you have a lot of power in regards to letting people, edit the website, adding content, and keeping those level of roles and
Hmm.
permissions to the level of, this person can only edit this section of the website and only put the content, change the pictures, but not messing up with the structure of the website. Or don't do
Hmm.
not change. No, no. If you want to lock the logo, nobody can change the logo. If you want to lock the USP or the title, you can actually go element by element and let some of the users of the team to change or not to change some areas of the website. And
Hmm.
some pages they can modify the pages and be able to publish it unless you review it first. So it's a lot of details in regards to collaboration that are really powerful,
I
especially
think
when you want something to scale, right?
Yeah, one thing I did like, and this is wasn't actually something actually happened to us. A editor went and add content and publish, and then we were working in the back end with other things when it comes to designing and the one thing is before was when they were able, the editor was able to publish when they click publish, they were able to publish not only their article or whatever they were uploading, but they upload the entire site. And one of the things happened here was like it was a nightmare because like the company's like, no, we don't want this to be published. It's not finished, this and that. And they start panicking, right? And the one thing is cool about Webflow is has what is called the auto backup. And simply we say, no worries, we're gonna go back in, we're going to say recover to the previous version and boom, right?
Awesome.
And we didn't have, so but those are little things too when it comes to this over here. You can go back and also recover any type of disaster that could happen in minutes.
Yeah. Here is another one that I really like, the templates. And the difference in
Hmm.
the templates on Webflow is that you can change anything. Actually, like
Hmm.
anything on on the templates. And WordPress, you cannot really modify the template. You can customize them, changing some of the elements, but it's way more flexible in Webflow.
Hmm.
Now, some of the new features also they are implementing lately are very awesome. Like the logic that they are rolling out right now, that actually you can have a lot of automation embedded within the interface is very powerful too. You can send
Hmm.
emails, take decision, add items to the CMS from forms. I mean, it's very dynamic.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. I think
yeah,
now this tool is not out yet for everybody. As I think it's only in the enterprise accounts, but or I think also there's called the
no,
beta
I
testers.
do have it. Yeah,
Oh, you do have it?
yeah. I think they are rolling it out to several users, but it's not fully. I think it's in beta, but
Yeah, it's
it's
in beta right
really
now.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it is.
they
Okay,
also
cool.
have the membership. They have many features launching lately that is very awesome. All right,
Yeah.
well, this is just a very brief overview of some of the features. There are hundreds of features that we're not going to show today, but these one are really something that you're not going to be able to find anywhere else. Now, in regard to the challenges when you try to migrate, um, these are one of the things that people probably done unless you have done a lot of migration and you start understanding what the real problem is. But this is what we see on the market. When one of the things, one of them that I really like, it hits to me is when you try to use the one main show migrator that is supposed, you're supposed, people offer you, okay, we move you from WordPress to Webflow. and it's only one guy trying to do all the functions like SEO, design, development, interaction, content migration, everything, that's when it's very scary because only the having all the understanding and deep level on every area is something that you probably won't don't want to trust to one guy. You want to have experts working on every area. So especially with SEO, when you have a WordPress website that is being ranking and you put a lot of work moving that, you know in a bit, not only to keep what you have but actually to improve it, because if you want to invest on a migration, is the right moment to actually do something even better than what you have, but at the same time at least not losing what
hmm
you already have in regards to ranking and organic positioning on Google, right?
hmm
What is your
Yeah.
top one on the list? Yeah.
I think pretty common. We this is actually extremely common when it comes to port URL redirect. I think
SEO.
in most of the time it happens, like because people when they migrate from one to another really don't know what links they have, what kind of URL that exists. And going back to what you're saying is like, okay, the current website, or the Webflow, the WordPress website you had, that was the correct structure, right? When you're migrating, you can improve that structure of your website, but you have to correctly have these URL redirects that will help you when
Yeah.
when it comes to that.
And we want
So,
to see a little bit of that
mhm,
on the next steps. But yeah, now from here is we want to touch the most important of the core of the presentation. Right now,
yeah,
we wanna start talking about the checklist, and um, we put all these steps very carefully together, so you can have an idea on what to go, how to go from point A to point Z.
mhm.
You have all the steps one by one. Let's touch on the first one.
Cool. So before right making a transitions, I think it's extremely important that you and your team or whoever is going to be involved in the project that you evaluate your existing site, right? And when it comes to evaluating, right, identify what content will go, what URLs exist, what rankings they have, all these different things that you need to identify. And then so I think once you identify all these things, okay, what pages you're going to transfer, what pages you're going to remove, I think it's important that planning before you actually do anything is extremely important, I think. And I think that a lot of times we run really fast. Okay, I just want to migrate and don't really know, like, what is it, the things that you're going to, what is the pages you're going to be transferring, what is the content you're going to be doing, what is the structure you're going to have, all these different things. I think is important to at least have a global right view. What is it going to take for you to actually migrate your site? So yeah, so identify essentials from your existing site before you even transfer, and I would say it's suggested to more like have some time for planning.
Okay, let's do the second one. And I think this one goes along once you have an understanding of what the company has, or the what existing
Hmm.
website has. This is when the expertise on Webflow and the features that you have can allow you to plan what to do in Webflow to make it better. I mean, there are a lot of different. It works differently.
Hmm.
You can improve, especially the CMS features. I really think is very valuable, and in a way that you can actually implement several solutions, CMS with filters, with forms that actually save a lot of the time that is not possible in WordPress. For example, I really like the idea of having a form on your website that you can send to your customers so they can put a review, and that review coming directly to you with a button that say publish. Boom, and it's already live on your website on your review list, right? So you don't have to actually develop anything. Once it's ready, you just click a button, send the review to your customers. They submit it, and then you publish it right there. It's things like that is actually easier for your customer, easy for you and your team, and beautiful. Like the work, it works automatically. I mean, this is a very simple example. There are many other features that you can actually save time and make it better when you utilize the Webflow features and the structure, right?
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
think
I
with
think
the
the
SEO, there is a lot of
I was gonna
possibilities too,
yeah, I was
right?
gonna say, yeah, when it comes to one of the things that we do, and I'm just gonna share something really quick in here, so I don't want to take so much. But this is a real live example right now. This is, of course, the way the structure it is, right? So when it comes to like hierarchy, this is what we call the hierarchy of each of their pages. This is your existing pages, how your new pages can look like, and what URLs they're going to be using. So pretty straight, pretty simple way to do it, but this is a good way to actually identify that. All right. So you're going to have a drop down
Yeah,
location. So hierarchy is extremely important that a lot of the times people may not even have it, you know?
that's a great visual. You can see, from the existing to the modified. Awesome.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
All right, let's go to the next point.
So, all right, this one.
This is when the fun
Uh,
starts.
yeah, yeah. Designing and workflow, right? So, of course, so you got your first step, of course, you're the planning. Number two, you did the structure. Now number three, you go to the design phase, right? So in some cases, people or companies or businesses, you have to, I think it's important for you to identify your branding, right? And then implement these things when then it comes to your designer. So of course, Webflow, like in our case, we have a specific styles that we use. And I know there's other companies, of course, in other agencies and freelancers, they're using a specific style guides for them to help them to implement consistency in their design, right? So I think when it comes to designing, you have to leverage, right, the Webflow visual designer and create, of course, engaging websites and implement elements that your website is going to help you to, of course, create conversions, create engagements, and so on, right?
Yeah.
Anything you want to
Okay.
add in there?
No, I think you nailed it down very well. The next one is about the migration of the content. Yeah, once you have your website, the structure on Webflow and everything ready, now it's a matter of bringing the content up. And you can have from 5 pages to 200, 500, 1,000 pages. And this is when the organization, the structure that you already work and the previous steps come to be important, right?
Right.
um,
Yeah, yeah. And then, of course, when it comes to migrating, right, content, I think, like you said, there is sometimes it can be extremely overwhelmed, right? I would say that is the word I want to use because, like you said, if it's 5 pages, no big deal. But if you have, let's say, we just recently we did our client, which we're gonna show you in a minute. She had over 140 blogs, which was definitely quite a lot of them. And if you're doing this manually one by one, it's going to take you hours and hours to do it. So the idea here is how can you migrate content that will help you to make this easy, right? So of course, WordPress they use, WordPress CSV, but there's many other options out there that you can, of course, migrate it into a spreadsheet, from a spreadsheet, upload it, and then make it much easier. So but yeah, definitely, migrating content. I think also another thing too, coming back to the hierarchy, right? Blogs and things like that. It's like knowing, are you gonna have categories? Are you gonna have filters? Are you gonna have this? Are you gonna have that? Tags and things like that. So also organize them in a way that it's gonna be even better than it was before too. You know.
okay, awesome. The SEO part.
Ooh, this is the fun part, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I think Webflow I think it's extremely easy when it comes to updating SEO stuff, right? Because, so I think Webflow has the two options, right? You can go basic, but also you can go advanced. In our case, of course, we have the screenshot here where we have custom code, and then one of the things we use is what we call advanced schema, so help them to be found faster and things like that, and it triggers some elements and things like that to be found. But when it comes to the basic stuff, right? Webflow, when it comes to their settings, is extremely simple to update. So when it comes to like meta tag, title tags, alt tag, and of course with Webflow as well, you have um, these audit that it has built in within
Uh-huh.
Webflow, which also makes a newbie to actually know, okay, I need to fix these issues within my site to make sure that you have all the elements related to SEO. Now, one little trick about here, right? People don't know about SEO. Like they may not know what is the combination of words that I need to have. What is, all these little things behind it. But when it comes to like filling it up, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, I think it's a good moment to for us to evaluate, your SEO strategy and
Hmm.
actually improve it in regards to the target keywords and matching, all the tags, the descriptions, and everything. So you don't have pages conflicting or competing against yourself in the same website.
Hmm.
This is probably something that people don't see when you do it, but actually have a huge impact. And I think in the case study we're going to show you how it works or how it feels after it's already done, right? You want to show you some data so you can see that.
Yeah.
um
Well, one thing too, just touching bases a little bit over here.
uh-huh.
Like you were talking about, of course, make sure like basic stuff, right? Your canonical, your heading, descriptions, all this stuff is good. But another common problem we see with Webflow, and this has happened all the time, okay? I have seen experts and they have it, but they don't, right? So having the correct structure, going back to structure again, right? They're having the correct structure for the website, and then that's going to help you as well to help you to improve your ranking as well.
Okay. Let's go to the next. This is the right redirects, right?
Yeah.
I think this is the one that you mentioned at the beginning that was your favorite.
Yeah, so and I showed you in my screen, right, a little bit of the example how we restructure these things, but also we have another page within the same page where we have old URLs and new URLs, and pretty much there's two ways to do this, right? One of them you can do it manually, one by one. Also, you can use plugins or integration with Suite, which you can also upload them all in bulk and CSV, and then you can reorganize and redirect them to the correct URL on the new website.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to notice this. Once we talk about having a structure or modifying the structure, having features implemented, CMS, something different from what you have. We can do all that, but at the same time, this redirects is to keep the traffic or let's say the organic
The
ranking,
juice.
bring it over. Because if you modify the structure and then Google doesn't, let's say, doesn't understand what you're doing, you're going to lose the traffic or the ranking that you already have. With the redirects, you can bring that traffic over to the new structure. And this is you need to be very, very careful and, mapping everything right with the new pages. And especially
Hmm.
when you have a bunch, when you have, many, many pages.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next. And this is the analytics part.
Yeah. So one of the things, right, common issues that we see too as well, like sometimes your website is ready, it's being completed, and it's live, right? But the one thing is they forget to add basic stuff like go to your settings within your website once it's been completed and transferred, and then check all the different measurement tools like Facebook pixels, Google Analytics, Google Search Console, any of that kind of stuff that you're gonna need in order for you to be able to measure, how much traffic you got, what kind of traffic you got, where people went to. Because if you don't have those things, you're gonna be missing data that is not gonna help you to make decisions, like what are the things that you need to improve within your site. So yeah, definitely Google Analytics, it's important to implement it. Now I know there's two type of analytics. One of them, of course, you can use a code, and the other ones you can use um, a numeric code, or you can use the string when it comes to the JavaScript that they gave you. Sometimes people prefer not to use the code, the JavaScript code, because it slows down your website. So sometimes people they're like, oh, we just put in the code, but you definitely can experiment. I think you have more. One of the best way to do is using as well tag manager, because in tag manager you can add a lot more complexity with that if you want to, but those are options as well.
Great. All right. The last part is actually just to test and launch. I mean, this is probably something that is not we don't most people don't put emphasis on, but I think it's really really important to use different devices, like mobile devices, a Samsung phone, an iPhone, a tablet, different kind of tablets, portrait
Hmm.
mode. The responsiveness of the website is something that sometimes is overlooked. And if
Yeah.
somebody using an iPhone, they test it on their iPhone, it seems to be okay. But if you don't test it on an Android, on different other devices, your users might not have the same experience that you have. So
Mm.
this is, I think it takes a lot of clicking on every button, every filter, every form, test it several times, and try to break the website to make sure that everything is working fine, right?
I don't know
Yeah.
about breaking, but yeah, we
Well,
get
at
the
least try
point.
to. I say try to break it. If something doesn't work, this
Yeah,
is this
I
is a
think,
test.
yeah, like you said, it's important to make sure you test not only responsiveness. I think you emphasize a lot in the
Yeah.
responsiveness, but also the copy, the text, the font size, all that stuff. Is it readable, non-readable? So when it comes to like links, right, from one link to another, navigation, net menu, form submissions, there's many things you can definitely test, but it's important that like in our case, we have a specific checklist that help us to go step by step to make sure, like, you know we don't forget anything. So yeah, definitely do a test when it comes to before your website's launch.
Okay, so now this is pretty much, I mean, this is a very, very high level view of all the details of the steps that you need to take. We have a detailed ebook or guide that we can send you to your email if you want to comment on this and this video, and we're gonna send you, put your email so we can send it to your email, and we go deeper into the in every step, right? Now, we also want to make sure that we can have um, a live demo. You can see this one how it works, especially the whole process.
Hmm.
Yeah, if you get ready with the demo, one of the pieces of the portfolio, so we can see how the website looks like and a little bit behind the scenes, and especially with the
Hmm.
SEO. Okay.
Let me do share screen. All right, so we're gonna see previous website. So we like to see people that way they can see what was the website. Of course, this is like the website before. I'm gonna zoom in so people you can see a little bit closer, but the website definitely needed some love for sure, right?
Yeah.
Some of the things that they had before. So this is one of the recent projects we just transferred from WordPress to Webflow. So this is the old site. We're gonna show you. Of course, we have a mock-up as well in here, but we're gonna show you the actual real site. Can you still see my screen?
No, I think you need to share the whole screen
Oh,
as
okay,
well.
okay. Windows. All right. Can you see that
Share
one?
the
Now,
exactly.
this is the new website, of course. So, going back to what we're talking about, changing the hierarchy. In our case, we put all the different services, blog posts, testimonials, resources, all the different things in different. That way it's easier for the users to navigate. Providing their services inside and out, whatever they need to, and maintain, you know, consistency in the design, icons, buttons, all that stuff. Um, so yeah, this is, I think, like one of the things that we probably spend the most time was on the blog. The blog for sure took us quite a little bit. And of course, now we do SEO for this account. So in our case, we implement and create content to make sure it ranks for it as well. But yeah, so this is, we're talking about the previous website, the strategy behind it. Of course, we went through the entire process when it came to the new structure. How are we going to help them to bring more traffic? How do we ranking? The styles, of course, to maintain consistency when it comes to all the different icons, spaces, which in each of them and at the CMS when it comes to the blog, uh, organize, which in this case this is a little bit more simpler. They didn't have any categories or specifics, so it was just all related to content, right? Blog. Um, and call to actions that we have, of course, across the entire page, testimonials. That's one issue that they had before. They had testimonials, one design that had a different testimonials on different size. So if you get a testimonials right here, of course they had a different testimonials, different sizes, but they were not consistent. So in our case, we try to make sure it was consistent across. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's the entire process when it came to building the site, of course. um
I think you need to. Uh, can you have the SEO data
oh, yeah,
as
yeah,
well? The
yeah,
front end?
sure.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
good. Not
let
that
me.
you see how the website on the front end works. Now we can show you a little bit of the data we collect in the dashboard for the SEO. So we
Okay.
target the keywords and start positioning on Google. Um,
Yeah, let's do that. So this is, of course, this is recent, right? So, and let me share my screen. And this is for the SEO. So in our case, Google has two different results, right? You have your search results and you also have your local results. So in our case, we have Google search results and we have local results. And if you see here, this is incredible, right? Because she went from being whatever, like maybe over 100. So she changed 97 position, right? So right now she ranks number 4 for these different keywords. This one, of course, went 95, so she's number 6, 95. So if you notice, um, many of the keywords they went up all the way to 100 positions, right? And then when it comes to local, right? So of course this is more recent, so as well it changes from number one. You can move up number one, number one, number one, right? You stay at number one already, and then of course we see we are adding some new keywords, so we identifying those keywords and of course helping to rank as well. But yeah, man. So far, in the beginning of the first 3 months, she was up over 14,000%. I think it was an outrageous number. And because this is, of course, this is with Google, right? Go up and down, and some weeks you're gonna be 600 position, and some weeks you're gonna be 1,500 position. But the point of all things is like you want to be in the first page in Google. So the idea here, that's gonna help you to bring more traffic, and that's going to help you obviously get more clients.
I see when you see these numbers and all these keywords and all that so abstract that sometimes it doesn't you don't see what the effect of this ranking is in the real life, right? But I remember with this case study, I have this connection when you send me that screenshot when you ask her how is business, and then I can remember exactly what she answered, but she said something like life is good or something like that. I can't remember, but it kind of bring you to the point that it's not only about migrating a website, it's not about ranking it's about actually
Business.
bringing your business to a different level, like
Hmm.
floating your calendar. I remember her calendar is being booked over for weeks when
Hmm.
before it was not that active.
She
It was
wasn't even
starting up.
found. People couldn't even
Yeah,
find her, other than just getting a customer referral or someone else telling her about this. But now, of course, we implement many things that I think help us to as well increase a lot more potential clients. In this case, we're talking about being found locally. If you see this one, it's a screenshot. She's number 1. If you look for, I think, what is the keyword there? Trauma
trauma and
therapist, right?
therapies in San
In San
Francisco.
Francisco, she's number 1, right? And this is organically, it's not being paid. So of course, when it comes to like, and there's so many of them out there, but she's number 1. And so definitely, like you said, this, it will impact their business as well.
And I think it's a good. I like her case because it's somebody. She is not a huge corporation. She doesn't have a
Hmm.
huge budget. She's actually somebody very, very relatable to what we can do in any market, because the
Mm-hmm.
same strategies that we can do for a doctor, we can do for uh, machine, let's say a construction company, for a corporation. As soon as we understand what you're trying to do and who is your target audience, we select the right keywords and target it on the right market, locally, statewide, citywide, national, international. It's a matter of applying, having an integrated strategy. I think the secret in here, what we're trying to convey is, it's not only about saying that Webflow is better or WordPress is bad. None of that. It's about having a integrated strategy. So your branding shows well, you're easy to use, easy to navigate, good structure for Google to read, and having the back end strategy to target the right words. And then you own your traffic, you own your market. It's not about paying a lot of money in advertisement. I really don't like spending money on advertisement. I like to own the traffic. And
Mm-hmm.
this is a very solid strategy. It's not something that happens in a month, but when you do it right, it's like when you exercise and eat well. It's gonna work in the long term, right?
Yeah. It also depends competitions and things like that. And I will tell you this, look, when we started with Dr. Kami, we saw competition and the structure and then the way they had SEO, it was like they were ranking in number one. I'm like, if these people are ranking already with the way they have it, their SEO, I think we can rank too. And so, and the first 30 days, man, she went like crazy, right? Like we went up all the way. And I think, of course, it's going to be case by case, but in some cases, like the idea is having the correct, if you have the correct, I always say, if you have, if you've done the work, the results kind of come in their own way.
Yeah.
So,
Now, in addition to knowing how to, or the step that we gave you, we want to give you now the insights of how to do it, or the really needed details between, in regards to the resources that you need. This is a table that we reference often in regards to the type of talent that you need to use in every steps. These are
mhm,
market value of what you should, you can be paying for a Webflow developers, a designer, content manager, and SEO specialist, and all the people that are supposed to be, doing
involved in the
the
project.
different features. I
Hmm.
like I like to give let's say a strategic view of how to allocate these resources on an implementation. And this one obviously is theoretical, is something theoretic, but you can have an idea who are you going to use in every step of the checklist and how much they're going to work in every step, right? So
Hmm.
I think this one is also explained on the guide and the checklist that we say, the PDF that we can send you. But it's basically so you have an idea how to allocate the resources, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, when it comes to migrating to from Webflow from WordPress to Webflow, really the idea is, do you need to ask yourself if this is going to be worth it? Because
Hmm.
it's not something that is magically going to happen, but sometimes changing is something that we don't want to do. We
Hmm.
usually want to keep things stable, but in market that is so competitive, this is something that we really want to give you an idea of how to have the right ideas to evaluate if this is something you
Yeah.
want to do.
I'm gonna call.
After you don't drink, how can you get food? I'm hungry.
um I think I can. There you go. Now, we do help businesses to migrate professionally, right? If you need any help from us, we do provide, and the idea of us doing this webinar is also helping other customers to do all this work, let's say, professionally. We have this package of $2,000 per month in which we can help you doing not only the migration, but also graphic design, the web flow management,
Hmm.
and content upload, the SEO, and copywriting. For us, it's like doing the whole thing. It's like the iPhone when you have the hardware and the software working together, and you have a better user experience. This is what we actually do uh,
And
for our customers.
Yeah, and let me add a little bit of this, right? So because
Mhm.
we see these services like people, of course, talking about, Webflow designers or Webflow developers out there, and then they have a specific, that's all they do, right? In our case, we want to help you when it comes from, your graphic designs. In this case, we have, of course, many different things that we help you with when it comes to your Webflow, SEO, and copywriting. I think all these things, all these elements, is definitely it's just it's like the cost that we actually are putting in here is like so much less than anyone out there. So, and then like in our case, of course, to add a little bit more, this is we only are charging $2,000 per month, right, for the entire services. Which, if you divide that in 30 days, that's what, $66. So you're paying pretty much for 1 hour what you normally will pay for,
Yeah.
per day, right? You paying 1 hour when you're getting a lot more than that. So, in
For
this
us, it is a
case,
service. Yeah, it's a service that we do professionally for you. At the same
mhm,
time, this is not something that we you want to be dealing with people in a different time zone. We are in the U.S. We work directly with you. This is something that we personally do. It's not that we can handle 200 customers. We do handle a small, limited amount of customers because we do it
mhm.
personally, right? Um, and if you're interested, I want to put the next steps in case that you want to contact us and having
Mm-hmm.
us helping you with your website or your migration or your branding.
Exactly. Awesome. All right, man. Well, this was a really good experience, and we went over 1 minute. So
Awesome.
pleasure,
I
pleasure
wanted to
connecting.
just
Yeah,
to thank Kalim. I
yeah,
think
yeah.
he wants to say you thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. As well, thank you for showing up today, Colleen. So thank you so much as well for listening to us. So definitely looking forward to connect with anyone here. If you have any questions or anything, of course, we have a phone number here, a website, of course, progeektech.com, and our email as well in there. So thank you, Edwin, for connecting as well and, helping me with this presentation. And definitely we're looking forward for the next one next week.
All right.
So thank you so
Talk
much.
to you.
Take
Bye
care.
bye.
All right, bye.